on the line here. All right, thank you for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. I really love the fact that you have me coming in right after my cousin, Chris Staples, because some of the things that he talked about as far as educating the youth is very similar to one of the reasons why I wrote my book, Resilience.
Look
So
at
we
that.
can ask me the questions. It's out today, the premiere, and I thank you so much for, hey, just saying, hey, I want you to premiere your book on my show. So I'm very, very grateful to you and Larvell for allowing me this opportunity. So thank you.
Oh,
Man,
thank you.
man, thank you for coming on. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. So you ask me the questions. I'm ready to go.
All right, all right. So, what is the book actually about? What is it? What can we, when we like look at it, just by looking at it, and I see the racism, I see the resilience, I see the bravery, I see that. If I by me looking at that, what can you tell me about it?
Okay, basically, I'll just say why I wrote the book. It's because I've been in academia for 37 years. And being in academia all those years and always being the only black professor in colleges of business, and I've worked a lot of colleges, I realized that there was a lot of racism. I saw that there was, corruption. I saw that there was privilege within the halls of education. And then I think about what's happening in the world today, and I look at so many people of color, particularly African Americans, and how much we're at a disadvantage in life. And then I was thinking, I said, wait a minute, if I had one penny for every time a student walked in my office and closed the door and cried saying, hey, there's a professor that's treating me with disrespect, or I feel that I'm being discriminated against, or whatever it may be, I'd be a rich woman to this very day. And so over the years, I realized that there was a lot going on in this world. And more importantly, I felt that I had to make a way for my daughter. I have one daughter. And I said that I need to leave a legacy for her like my mother left a legacy for me. But in addition to that, I wanted to leave a legacy for young people that are going into any discipline. It doesn't matter if you want to be a person in golf, like Chris talked about. He talked about some of the disparities that young golfers go through and how he has to work with them to get them to love and enjoy the game. He talked about how some of the black people were treated in a disparaging way, just being caddies or whatever it is. The same thing happens in academia, but for some reason, people somehow think that academia is pure from all the negative ills that society brings to people of color on a day-to-day basis. And I'm here to say, well, that's not true. And so I wrote the book with the mindset of the main character, this young lady named Emma. And Emma, if one were to read the book, they will see from the time she was in kindergarten all the way to becoming a full professor, she's able to talk about and point to the racist behaviors that she had to deal with. But it's not a book that's necessarily about all the negative. It's about the resilience that Emma, how she was able to overcome and literally come up with strategies on way to succeed in life. And so that's kind of the gist of the book. So it doesn't matter if it's a boy or a girl or a man or woman. What it boils down to, if a person is going into a discipline or an industry or a job and they're feeling like they can't make it, it's because there's so many negative influences in their lives. I say, hey, you could do it. You could actually go through that mountain. If someone puts a mountain in front of you, you got to either go through it, go around it, go under it, or you just got to blast it all the way out of your way. But there is a way to overcome anything that is presented to you in a way that is negative to make you want to give up.
Wow, that was deep.
Man, see what I'm talking about?
Wow. I felt that one.
Wow, yes, yes. Oh my gosh, okay.
I mean, it's like this. I would imagine starting your own radio show. Someone just didn't give you the keys and open the door and say, voila, here you go. We're from the same blood. We have people in our family. Just, I think about our grandparents. I think about our forefathers, sisters, and brothers. I think about Harriet Tubman, how she had to just fight to free the slaves or whatever it is. And what we have to do as educators, I'm an educator. I'm still teaching right now, but I'm tired of being silent. It's time that we stand up and we talk about the very things that people are afraid to talk about. A lot of times in life, if you have a job, and I tell you, Floyd, there's been students that come to me in every single class and they say, you're so lucky. How did you become a professor? I want to be like you. You're so lucky. And I said, oh, wait a second. I'm not lucky. But if you want to, if I call it luck, it's labor under correct knowledge. That's the luck that I have. Labor under correct knowledge. And so what we have to do, no matter what our disciplines are, you just got to know what to do to succeed. And no one can stop you. We only stop ourselves. And that's why I wrote this book. The legacy for my daughter is because I'll tell you, my mother died at a very young age. And as I got older, there was things I said, boy, I wish I could have asked my mother, well, how did you do this? And how do you overcome racism and all this other stuff that people will say, well, that's just in your mind. And I said, well, what I will do for my daughter, rather than trying to leave her stuff, I'm going to leave her something that she can walk away with that can last her for the rest of her life, that she can pass on to her children, etc. And that's how to thrive in life. And that's what resilience is all about. It teaches a person how to strive in life, how to thrive in life, and not just point and look at the negative stuff, but how do you turn that lemon into lemonade? And then you can sit back and then drink that wonderful lemonade that someone once gave you as just lemon to stop you. How can one think in terms of if somebody is trying to throw something at me, it's like, oh, wait a minute, you're throwing something at me, but it's a seed that's going to grow within me and then outside of me that I'm going to pass on to the next person. And my cousin Chris talked about, how he's really passing things on to the next generation. And even though he saw negative things happen in the golf industry, and this is any industry or whatever it is, you got to turn it around and you got to make that lemon into lemonade.
That's right. That's right.
A lot of us have those same type of stories. I have that same type of story where my father was the first African-American firefighter for the city that we grew up in back in Chicago. And just seeing that type of atmosphere, that world, and him having to deal with racism and us being raised in a predominantly white neighborhood, the things we had to go through. So it just, like you said, it makes people stronger. They try to throw things at us, but you got to push through.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, because life, one thing I've learned is that, living this life, in order to even get anything, just like Marilyn said, we have to, strive. We have to go forward. We have to do it.
They tried to throw us the scraps, and we turned it into soul food,
That's right.
Hey, that's what we do, make it happen, But when you're dealing with, all this hatred in the world, when you're dealing with, people killing people just because of the color of their skin, and how do we overcome that? How do we get to a point to be okay?
Because it seems like it's getting worse now. Like it's coming to an end.
It really is. Like what would you say about something like that?
Well, I'll say that was one of the things that really pushed me to finish the book. I started the book in November 2019, and again, I said I wanted something for my daughter as the legacy, but I was really pushed forward after the George Floyd and all the other murders out there. And then the world started talking about the negative things that are going on in the world, and I said, wait a minute, I need to speak up. I think that if more of us, I talk, and it doesn't matter the color of your skin, because I'll tell you, I have some serious, wonderful, brothers and sisters that are white, that are all sorts of colors that are out there. It's not just the color of your skin, but we need to let people know that we have to start loving each other. But first, we got to love ourselves. And if you love yourself, there's no hate that's going to come out of you. You know, hate comes from within and is pushed outward. And that's where a lot of these crimes are coming from. And, you know, I'm no psychologist or whatever it is. My cousin Jeanette, she could speak on that. But when it comes to hate, it's something that's intrinsic within a person. Now, I had a lot of hate thrown at me over the years, 37 years in academia. It's like every time someone tried to drown me, I was like a buoy. I would always pop back up. And they would wonder, what in the crap? Why does she keep popping up? What's going on? What it boils down to, you got to have a very strong intrinsic value system from home, whatever that might be. In my particular case, I have a very strong belief in God, number one. I have a very strong husband that really keeps me going, and I have a wonderful, very strong young daughter. Well, she's not young anymore, she's getting older, but nevertheless, she keeps me going, and I'll have a wonderful son-in-law pretty soon. That keeps me going. And so what I try to do is surround myself around positive people. I believe that if we take care of our bodies, our minds, and our spirit, then we should be good to go. So whatever we're facing out there in the world, we won't succumb to the evil stuff that's going on out there. We'll just have to keep fighting it, but a good fight rather than a negative fight. The book Resilient is a good fight. I'm sharing a whole lot of stuff about Emma in this. She's the main character in this story, but the bottom line is that there's a lot of Emmas out there. And Larvell, you talked about your father being, the only one in his industry, etc. That is also consistent with Emma. You know, when you're the only one or the first one or one of few, Emma tells the story of what that's like. And it's not a comfortable feeling, but it's a very empowering feeling when you have the right people surrounding you.
She said a lot of things I want to put on a t-shirt right now.
Okay.
So I do have a question. Like, how do you feel, you being an educator, as far as how can we get past racism? There's a lot of people saying we can do this, we need to talk about this, but my thing is, how do you feel about it being taught in schools? Because we don't know a lot of our own history or the true facts of slavery or racism in America. Mm-hmm. And I know there's this big thing, I don't know 100% everything about it, but I want to say like CRT or something in the news they've been talking about taking away from the schools or the education. I think instead of taking it away, we need to start talking about it more often in the schools. How do you feel about this being more taught in schools?
I believe that the talk, and that's a good question, thank you, Larvell. We should keep talking about it, but it has to be the right people to talk about it. You just can't have say, okay, we're going to have critical race theory and then anybody can teach it, because they're going to come in with their own biases and we don't know how they're going to teach that. There was Hannah Jones. She won a Pulitzer Prize for the 1619 Project, and that gets into the whole race thing or whatever it is. And she was actually offered a tenured position at a school, but what happened is that because of the politics, they say, well, hey, we don't want people to know about what happened in 1619. We're rejecting where you're coming from, and therefore we're not going to give you tenure. I think that is absolutely ridiculous. I'll be honest with you. It's because education or becoming educated should be, what is the body of knowledge out there? It should be that we should be able to educate students in a way where they can actually pick and choose what they want to believe in, but at least they're knowledgeable. So back to your original question, I do believe that critical race theory, I think that's very important, but it depends on how it's taught and who's teaching it. I do believe that teaching our history is extremely important. However, again, it depends on what they're going to teach and how they're going to teach it and who's going to teach it. And those are really important factors, because you get the wrong person teaching, you can have a real serious problem.
Those are facts, because just like what's happening today,
That's all facts.
Yeah, and this is why we are where we are today.
Yeah.
And I'll say what you're doing right now, giving me this platform to be able to express myself, at least it gives us an opportunity to maybe reach someone out there through the book Resilience. Maybe someone will say, maybe I can make it. I don't have to listen to the lie saying because you were born of a certain race or because you were born in a certain caste, then therefore you are undeserving or whatever it is. Everybody deserves a chance in life. And what we have to do as individuals is give everybody an opportunity, the benefit of the doubt, and just try to be a good person and try to spread love as much as we can. And I personally, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm the only Black professor in my entire college and have always been the only one for years, but I never stopped spreading love to my students, regardless of the hate that may come towards me from colleagues, faculty, administrators. I spread love.
Amen.
Well, speaking about spreading love, we need to figure out about spreading this book. Where can we find this book? What platforms?
Thank you for asking. There's a couple platforms. You can go straight to Amazon and you can literally type in my name. That's Marilyn Easter, and then put Resilience next to it and it will pop up there. Also on Square, but I'd say go to Amazon is because you get a really good deal on Amazon. Square it's more expensive, but I would say go to Amazon, and that's Marilyn Easter, Resilience, and it's just going to pop straight up.
Nice.
Awesome. Well, we thank you for this opportunity. We're about to get on out of here. Our time is about up. And but we would like to have you back on the show at some point.
I would love to come back. I would absolutely love to come back. Thank you for having me. It's been a real treat because again, today is the premiere day. The book just hit the market out there, and because of the fact that you opened up things to let the community know that I would be interviewing on your show, it automatically generated an interest in people wanting to at least read the book. So I do appreciate this.
Awesome. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay.